This is Getting the Showing. Listing copy that converts. A training class for listing agents who want the right buyer at the door, not just anyone. Over the next several slides, we're going to walk through a complete methodology for writing MLS listing copy that earns the click, filters the right buyer in, and sets up a showing with someone who's already predisposed to buy. I'm Mark Casper, managing broker at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Florida Showcase Properties in Citrus County, Florida. Let's get into it. The question on screen is the whole class. What is a listing agent's job? Most agents would say sell the house. That's the sales job. Today we're talking about the marketing job, which comes first, and which most agents shortchange. Here's the trap most agents fall into. They think more showings is always better. It's not. Showings to buyers who don't fit. Buyers who need a pool and yours doesn't have one. Buyers who need 4 bedrooms and you have 3. Those showings cost your seller time, inconvenience, and disappointment. Great marketing brings fewer, better fit buyers. That's the goal. Think of marketing like casting a net with the right mesh size. Too coarse, and you catch everything, including fish you have to throw back. Too fine, and you catch nothing. The right mesh catches exactly who you're fishing for. This is NAR data, the 2024 profile of home buyers and sellers. They survey thousands of recent buyers every year and ask one question. Where did you first find the home you purchased? Look at what happened. In 2001, 8% of buyers found their home on the internet. By 2024, that number is 51%, and it has climbed almost every single year in between. I got into this business in 2004. The internet was already moving. By the time I was writing the listings we are going to talk about today, it had become the dominant channel, and it has never looked back. Number 2 on this chart is the real estate agent, holding steady around 28 to 29%. That number has been remarkably durable. We will come back to what it means in a few minutes. Now let's walk through the rest of this chart, because understanding why these other channels are small tells you something important about where to focus. Directly from sellers, new the seller, is about 3 to 4%. There is no realtor in that transaction. That is a private sale between people who already have a relationship. You cannot play in that market, and you should not spend a single dollar trying to. Friend, relative, or neighbor is another 7%. Nationally, that sounds like something. In Citrus County, it is not. We are a destination market. The buyer in Chicago who decided they are moving to Crystal River did not grow up next door to a seller here. The buyer in Boston, the buyer in upstate New York, the buyer in Michigan, very few of them have a friend calling to say a sign just went up on their street. The friend and neighbor channel exists in mature, high-turnover suburban markets where people buy, stay 20 years, and then buy again nearby. That is not us. Statistically, people move into Citrus County more than they move within it. Yard signs and open houses together are under 4% nationally. And again, the buyer who has already decided they are coming to Florida is not driving your roads looking for signs. They are searching from a laptop in Ohio, a kitchen table in New Jersey, a break room in Illinois. The one area worth a brief mention is home builders, sitting at about 5%. That is not a channel you can ignore entirely, because there is a move you can make there. If you have solid relationships with quality builders in your market, when a buyer walks in your door saying they are thinking about building, you have something to offer. A referral to a builder you trust is a service. It keeps you in the transaction. It is worth cultivating 2 or 3 builder relationships for exactly that reason. So when you add it all up, internet and real estate agent together account for 80% of how buyers find homes nationally. In a destination county like Citrus, where buyers are coming from out of state and have very few geographic shortcuts, that number is almost certainly closer to 90%. That is where the game is played. That is where your time and your marketing dollars belong. The buyer who has already decided they are moving to Florida is on Zillow. They are on Realtor.com. They are in the MLS. That is where the home search happens, and that is why your MLS listing is not a formality. It is your primary marketing document. Full stop. This is why I call it a dropout funnel, not a conversion funnel. The question isn't, how do I get more people into the top? The question is, of the people who already match my filter, how many dropped out before they got to a showing, and why? Someone is sitting at a desk in Rome, New York in January. It's 11 degrees outside. They've decided they're moving to Florida. They don't know your seller. They don't know Citrus County. They type in their criteria and hit search. If you're not in those results, the game is over before it started. And if you are in those results, but your first sentence is, "Welcome to this lovely home," they're already on the next listing. The dropout funnel has visible holes at every level. Your listing copy is patching those holes. That's the job. I've had this conversation at hundreds of listing appointments. The seller says, "We need $380,000. The comparable sales say $365,000. And I have to explain that it's not just about whether the appraisal will come in. It's about whether the right buyer ever sees the home at all. At $380,000, buyers who've set a $350,000 ceiling never find you. You're fishing in the wrong pond. And here's the harder version of this conversation. When a seller can't or won't adjust the price and can't or won't improve the condition, the value proposition is broken, and no listing description fixes a broken value proposition. You can write the best copy in the world and the right buyer still won't come, because the right buyer at that price point is looking for something this home doesn't deliver at this price. This is also why I say price is the first word of your listing description. Before anyone reads a single line you wrote, they've already decided whether to look based on the number in the filter. This section is the heart of the methodology. Everything before this was context. Why marketing matters, how the funnel works, why pricing is a marketing decision. Now we get to the process itself. What do you actually do before you write a single word of listing copy? I want you to think about this like a job application. If you're writing a cover letter but you don't know what the job is, what the company values, or what problem they're trying to solve, your cover letter will be about you, not about them. It'll be generic. Listing copy works the same way. If you don't know who you're writing to, you write to everyone, which means you reach no one. Walk through the 3 questions with the property in your head as you read this slide. If you can't answer question 1, if you can't name a specific person, go back to the property. Look at what makes it unusual. That is your buyer. Here's the full story. 12 showings in a market where homes were sitting for 150, 200, 300 days. Sold at asking. 12-year price per square foot record for the neighborhood. I wrote, "Only Santa will have a bigger workshop than you." And the buyer turned out to be a music teacher who needed a private studio. Not a woodworker. A musician. Didn't matter. The headline said, "There is a big private space here, and it belongs to someone specific." He raised his hand. This is the earned headline test in action. The headline didn't describe a workshop. It described a feeling of having more space than you've ever had, of finally having the room to do the thing you love. The right buyer translated it into their own terms. That's exactly what it's supposed to do. Someone built your dream home for you. I used that line myself, twice, in different markets. In 2009, with so many buyers who'd been priced out of building new, it landed. By 2016, it had drifted toward generic. Tactics have shelf lives. The test is always the same. Is this line doing real work for this specific property, in this specific market, right now? The other thing the earned headline does, it filters. When "Only Santa will have a bigger workshop" is your first line, the buyer who doesn't need a workshop keeps scrolling. Good. You didn't want to spend your seller's afternoon showing the house to someone who was never going to buy it. Filtering is not a failure. Filtering the wrong people out is part of the job. Think about how you choose what to read online. You see a headline and a first sentence. You decide in about 2 seconds whether to click. Your listing gets the same 2 seconds. What are you doing with them? Below the fold is not where you win the showing. It's where you confirm a decision that's already been made. The real fight happens above the fold, and most agents are still writing their welcome paragraph up there. Every word above the fold either earns its place or it doesn't belong. Every piece of copy you write is solving one of these 3 problems. No clear reason to choose this home, an unanswered objection, or a cooperating agent who can't sell it. If you can't tell which problem a sentence is solving, cut it. Vague superlatives are the enemy of effective listing copy. Gorgeous, stunning, incredible. Every agent uses them, and they do nothing. The buyer has read those words on 40 listings today. Replace every vague superlative with the specific fact that earns it. Don't say generous lot. Say 127 feet. Don't say impressive spacing. Say 250% the size of a standard villa lot. Let the number do the work. Also notice the agent remarks on this listing. Get them out back to see the 3-4x normal spacing between neighbors. That is a directive, not a courtesy. The cooperating agent is told exactly where to start the showing and why it matters. That is tactical briefing. We'll come back to it in Tool 3. The membership situation in Citrus Hills is genuinely confusing to outside buyers and agents. Mandatory, voluntary, charter, social level, deposit, dues, it's a lot. And when buyers are confused, they don't call to ask. They move on. This copy pre-handles all 3 buyer types in the agent remarks, so the cooperating agent walks in already briefed. The showing doesn't get derailed by a conversation the listing agent should have had in writing. The 2026 note on this slide is real and urgent. With stellar MLS coming, we're going to have far more outside agents showing Citrus Hills properties who know nothing about our membership structures. The institutional knowledge that Citrus County agents carry, the stuff we just know, is not going to be there. We have to put it in the listing, in the public remarks, not just the agent remarks. That is a genuine change to how we write copy starting now. The cooperating agent has never walked your listing. They may be showing 6 properties that day. If your agent remarks don't give them a reason to prioritize this showing and the tools to present it effectively, you are leaving money on the table. Think of it this way. You spent 2 hours at the listing appointment. You know this property inside and out. The cooperating agent has 3 minutes to scan your MLS entry before they walk in the door with a buyer. Agent remarks are how you transfer what you know to them in 3 minutes. If your agent remarks don't tell them anything they couldn't get from the public remarks and MLS fields, rewrite them. Same chart, different number. Look at the second bar, real estate agent. 29% of buyers in 2024 found their home because their agent showed it to them. That is not a small number. That is nearly 1 in 3 buyers. And unlike the internet buyer who found your listing themselves, this buyer's entire decision to walk through the door was made by their agent. Think about what that means. The cooperating agent scanned your MLS entry. They read your public remarks. They looked at your agent remarks. And they decided, based entirely on what you wrote, whether to put your listing on their show list or skip it. You were not in the room. You did not get to make a case. Your copy made it for you. If your agent remarks are empty, or they duplicate the public remarks, or they are a legal disclaimer, you just lost that conversation. The cooperating agent moved on to the next listing where the agent told them what to do first, why it matters, and what their buyer is going to love. That is 29% of your potential buyer pool. Do not leave it on the table. I'll own this. Several of these phrases appear in my own listings from this period. Some of them worked in that market. Don't let the price fool you carried real meaning in 2009 when a $67,000 condo could genuinely be exceptional. By 2014, I was writing it out of habit. The market had changed. The phrase hadn't. Watch for that in your own writing. The substitute for every one of these is the same thing, specificity. Give me one concrete, verifiable fact about this home, a measurement, a date, a comparable sale, and I'll take it over tremendous value every single time. The fact does the work. The adjective is a placeholder for a fact you haven't found yet. This is the most important slide in the class. The framework I'm giving you today was built in the worst buyer's market most of us will ever work in. It's more transferable because of that, not less. But the phrases, the buyer types, the specific objections, those are mine, from my read of that market in those years. Your job is to do the same analytical work on today's market. What I want you to leave with is not a list of phrases to copy. It's a process for reading your property, reading your buyer, and writing copy that connects those 2 things on purpose, every time. The professional obligation is to read the market in front of you, not the market you remember, not the market you wish existed. One more look at this chart, because the story is not finished. 51% internet, 29% agent. Those 2 numbers together account for 80% of how buyers find homes. And both of them are about to be amplified by AI. On the internet side, AI-powered search is going to make buyers faster and more specific. They will filter more precisely, research more deeply, and make more of their decision before they ever contact an agent. The window between found the listing and decided whether to show is going to compress. Your above-the-fold hook and your headline are going to do even more heavy lifting than they do today. On the agent side, AI is already being used by buyers to identify agents. Which agents know the market, which agents have the listings, which agents produce results. The agent the AI recommends is going to be the agent whose listings are clear, specific, and well-written, because AI reads copy too. It indexes your listings. It evaluates your market knowledge based on how precisely you describe properties. The methodology we talked about today does not become less important as AI scales up. It becomes the baseline. The agents who are still writing welcome to this lovely home in 2027 are going to feel it. This is the workshop. In the live class, everyone takes 10 minutes with a current listing, their own, or one borrowed from a colleague, and answers the 3 questions. Who is the specific buyer? What does this property offer that buyer? And what objection has to be pre-handled? If you're watching this on your own, pause the video here and actually do it. Pick a listing with a clear differentiator or a known objection, not a plain 3-bedroom with no distinguishing features. Finding the angle in a vanilla listing is a harder, more advanced skill. Say your answers out loud before you write anything. You often know the answer when you say it, even when you can't write it yet. Then test what you wrote with 3 questions. Could any other listing use this headline? Who does this speak to specifically? What objection is still missing? Take a photo of this slide. Put it on your desktop, print it, and tape it to your monitor. The difference between average listing copy and copy that gets showings is not talent. It's doing this process, on purpose, every time. Marketing gets the right people to the door. That is the job. Everything else, the showing, the offer, the negotiation, that's sales. And sales is a lot easier when marketing has already done its job first. This is the thesis of the whole class, restated cleanly. If you leave with one thing, let it be this. Your job as a listing agent is not to sell the house. It's to make sure the right buyer walks through the front door. Everything else follows from that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next class.